work. The board voted to do a survey of our licensees in February to just get kind of an idea and of where everyone kind of stand on some of the issues that we're all kind of grappling with around social work licensure. So we did 10% of our total licensees. At that time, we had a total active licensees of about 19,343, give or take. So 10% of that was about just around 1,900. Of the about 1,900 that we sent the survey to, we had 468 responses. So that was a response rate of about 24.25%, which is kind of consistent for online surveys. Again, I do want to point out that 10%, we stratified that across the 4 license levels. Obviously, we have more LCSW-Cs licensed in Maryland, so that group was, of course, larger, but we did as well survey LMSWs. LCSWs, because while the board is not issuing new LCSW licenses, we still have about, let me see here, I actually have the data. We have about 2% of our total licensees are still LCSWs. Across racial profiles, the respondents, we had 29.6% were African American, 2.6% Asian, 61.6% white, 3.2% identified as multiracial, and 2.8% identified as other. Again, we did not pull. When we stratified our sample, we added that question in, so it was voluntary for the respondents to enter their racial and gender information. Two participants did not respond to the race question. Pulling again from some data that we pulled in February, the beginning of February, where I just gave you that 19,343 data. At that time, racial breakdown was 24.35% Black or African American, 26% white, 0.95% identify as other, 8.04% multi, 8.51 no answer on their licensing data, 0.47 identify as Hispanic, 0.24% identify as Indian or Alaskan, and then 1.18 identify as Asian. So the racial data on the survey was pretty comparative to our active licensee data. I think that the data kind of speaks for itself. It's not 100%, but 81.1%, strongly or somewhat agreed that Maryland should keep the licensing exam requirement. Everyone, the licensing exam is an important measure of social work competence. We can argue that a test is not a perfect way to rate competence, and we all know that and can agree with that, but 76.5% agreed. We did have strong support among people of color. The majority believed that the Maryland should keep the national exam as a requirement for licensure. Again, there's the breakdown on some of the racial data, some of the responses in terms of the races. So 78.4% either agree or somewhat agree that Maryland should keep the national exam. I think, you know, we also put in a question about the compact, which participants were asked if they supported the Interstate Social Work Compact for Maryland. Under the compact, social workers would have the option to, you know, for the multi-state license. And overall support was 94.7%. So 83.9% strongly support the compact and 10.8% somewhat supported the compact. You know, there's a chart again down in there that kind of breaks down the overall kind of data on survey participants. We, you know, we had a pretty good breakdown in terms of practice region, which you can see up there on the chart. You know, 51% were from the Central Maryland region, but we did have respondents from the Capital region, the Western region, Eastern Shore, and Southern Maryland as well. So I am more than happy to take any questions from members of the work group. Again, the survey is up on the board's website.